Are you a photographer?
I am. Everyone follow Enodrada Photography.
Okay, hi y'all. First off, shout out to y'all for sticking through that. Shout out to the yoga candidates. That was really intense and good. Okay, so hi, I'm Leony Mijares, and I'm applying for activities coordinator. One of the reasons I'm applying is because I want to give back to the space that I've learned so much from. I never really knew what it meant to be a Filipina, and especially as a first generation Filipino American, I found it really challenging to find a balance between remaining true to my Filipino authenticity while also moving forward to the environment that my mom created for me by moving here to America. And coming from a city like Carson, there's such a strong population of Filipinos, but there was no unified voice in expressing what it meant to actually be Filipino. And that's what I found here at UCSD, because of KP. And KP was also the first space in which I actually felt a sense of belonging and community. And it's a spot where I found my mentors and mentors, my support system, and a family that I can call that I was lacking at home. And so, sorry, I'm speeding through that. And so, KP was also I remember we were in the PCC circle and everyone was holding hands and we closed our eyes. I remember thinking how lucky I was as a first year to experience a community like this, and a community that preached self-care and self-love. I had no idea what that was in high school. I was self-care, I'm supposed to put my mentality and mental health before my education. I just thought that was so great. Just self-love that I've learned through the PC space and my PC and my family. It was such an inspiring thing for me, and that's why I know I'm still working on myself as a person, and I have a long way to go, but I feel I've gotten so far from where I was, and that's basically.
We will take 5 questions. Are we taking that speakers list? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so a new part of your job description, position description is that you are to put on a social event in winter quarter. What do you envision that as?
Okay, well to me, winter quarter is the time where everyone's super stressed out, and that's the time where I feel we need a breather the most. So I was thinking something along the lines of when it's still hot, because San Diego's always hot anyway. Maybe a group beach day, or maybe just going to watch the sunset together. That'd be really adorable, and just self-reflecting at the beach so that no one gets stressed out during winter quarter, especially when it's dark. But and also I want to do something along the lines of associating with other Filipino communities at SDSU, the KP Spring and whatnot. And just things like that, and maybe just dinners and everything that so everyone feels comfortable and included.
KP, prior to this year, KP has often been noted as being too social. What does being a social org mean to you, and what is your response to this type of notion?
People often misrepresent KP as just a social organization, but it's not. That's the reason we have space, which is the 5 pillars: social, political, academic. And as social pillar, I think it's important for me to make sure everyone's included and retained so that we can experience all aspects of space, because that's very important to our growth as a person, and especially as a Filipino. And also just as a SAC organization, it's important to note that we shouldn't stop at just socializing and just using KP as a way to make friends, because as a whole, our objective is to represent the Filipino community while also standing in solidarity with other underrepresented members. And also as the social pillar, it's good to remember that I am a part of a board, and I should also advocate for the other aspects of the board.
coordinator is a position, is a co-position for planning friendship games. What are your, or how do you work with others?
Okay, in terms of like working with others, I think it's important to note that like being a co means that you're also supporting your other like co. So like I want to be there for my co, because like it's important to know that like we are students first, but on top of that we're balancing like personal issues. So I want to be there for my co, like on an emotional, mental, and like spiritual level. And it's just it's also like good to know like when to lead and when to follow, because like one person has to know like when it's time for them to take initiative and responsibility in order to designate like when we have to make committees and whatnot. And it's also important to follow because you want to know like when you should listen to what other people say, because they might have like expertise in it more than like you do, and like it's nice to like make sure you lead them.
Sorry. I don't know if I was supposed to go yet. So one thing I've noticed as like time, I've been in KP for a while now, so one thing I've noticed is that retention rates among the upper heads, like the older years, continues to like decrease every year. So what are some ideas or some future plans that you have to keep people coming back out? Because everyone knows that friendship games is going to be interesting for first years, because everything's new for first year. But how do you plan on keeping people back, like getting people back?
I think it'd be important to create social events within just upper heads itself, because like when you're first year, you have like that community to itself. Okay, when like you're first year, you have like the people you know, like the people you create friendships with, but as you grow older, you do start getting more busy. So I think it's important to, for like every quarter, at least like every year, to have an event where all the upper heads gather together and reflect on like their first year and their crazy second year stories. And I think it's also important for like the upper heads to stay in contact with the first years too and like share their experiences. And like, there was one more thing I wanted to add. Can you repeat the question?
Upper head retention.
Yeah, upper head retention. Like how do you plan on getting people to come back out?
Okay. I think I mostly said it all like in my previous thing, but I guess like one more thing is just like to create like, because I've noticed like a lot of the people who join later on in their years, like people who join in the 3rd and 4th years, they feel excluded. So I think it'd be important for the upper heads to like also get in contact with the new older people of their year.
Mine is okay. My question is simple, or not simple. What does spirit, pride, unity, and friendship mean to you, and how can you incorporate that within KP itself?
Personally, I think I'm a very spirited and energetic person. Like if you always see me, I'm not just like laughing awkwardly, like to myself or to other people. So I feel like I can use like my qualities as a person and like use it to energize other people who are like in front of me. And I just feel like it's important to always have like put a smile on my face personally, so that like other people can like emulate that. And I don't know, just like as a person, like I feel like I'm very compassionate. So I always notice when other people are like feeling sad, and like I think it's important for me to like make sure everyone feels happy and like included. Oh, and like also like in like past experiences, because I was in like Key Club and like a lot of organizations dealing with like spirit, and I think like I can use like what I've learned from there and implement it to like now.
That was 5. Oh, that was 5? Yeah. Are you okay? Okay. Wait, have someone else ask you a question. Really, bro?
Given that there are no executive board members applying at this time, how do you plan to take leadership without without the primary example and direction under those executives provided by those executive board members?
Okay, well, I hope people do apply. I think it's important to remember that we are going to be a collective group of people, and we can rely on each other in order to think about what we're going to have to do with those positions, especially because those positions are the ones who okay, just because there's no upper head positions doesn't mean that there weren't any before. So we can use them as resources in order for us to grow as
Okay, me, good. So given that you could possibly be on a board with a lot of your friends and people you hang out with now, how do you think you'll be able to separate your work from playing and stuff like that?
Well, friendship is important because we are how you being on a Filipino friendship. But there is a time for us to work and to play, because if we don't do work, then our GBMers are going to be looking at us. The board is a model for the GBMers to follow, and if we mess up, then they're not going to have a good time with us. So I think it's important for us to remember our role and why we applied for our positions, and make sure we carry that on.
What does support look like to you, and how are you going to support your other board members?
Yes.
A lot of support I've learned from KP is just being there for someone, even in times where support is just a big thing to me, because sorry. Okay, so for support, I think it's just being there for one another and making sure everyone is at the right mindset, because retention is so important at UCSD. It's so easy to feel lost in such a big crowd, and that's why KP is so important, because everyone together within our fams, within the PC space, that's where we find people to just talk to. A lot of times in UCSD, we get so involved and so caught up in academics, or just trying to make sure we have the funnest times. But it's also important to just know that there's a time to sit down and just talk, because everyone's going through something and everyone's struggling together. And it's important even though it's hard to share struggles, it's a good thing, because there's a beauty in vulnerability and sharing.
Oh.
Jessica. So it's a follow-up. In the event, sorry. In the event that you don't receive the support from a board member, how would you handle that? Okay. Well, support from a board member would be really cool, but I think I would grow support within myself to make sure that I can motivate myself as a person, and ensure that I have the capabilities of fulfilling my position. But if I don't find support within other board members, I wouldn't take that as offense. I try to find I still support them and their decisions and their choices.
At times, board can be really stressful. So how do you hope to keep yourself retained and motivated within the board space?
Okay. Well, stress for me is a really good motivator. Because if you find the right amount of stress, then you'll find enough motivation to do things. But too much stress can lead to breaking down. So for me, I think it's important to keep my mental health in note, and just know when things are being when there's like too much things going on, and like I need to make sure that I can like not be shy to ask for help, because like I feel like that's a lot of things people struggle with, like asking for help, and like just to know that like it's okay like not to be okay sometimes, like you have to like be able to reassure yourself and like like even though you are stressing over things, that's only temporary. Like feelings are temporary and like they'll pass, and like once you get through something, like you'll be happy with
Friendship games is often criticized for its hypermasculinity. How do you plan to address this hypermasculinity within those who feel uncomfortable with it?
I think that it'd be good to like talk to the political pillar about it, because they're the ones who know like the most about that. So like during my GBMs, like I remember like they have like conscious corners. So it'd be good to like implement that and like talk about things such as like something nasty and like just like be able to make sure everyone is comfortable about it, and just to remember that like it is a game and like a competition, and just like we're just like doing it to have fun and not to like insult everyone.
So besides friendship games and formals, what other programming ideas do you have in store for NCA?
I think the things I talked about like during winter quarter would be like really important. But like one of the main things I want to do is like be able to talk to my rank, like my co, and like be able to plan things with him, and like really like push ourselves to our limit when it comes to planning like social gatherings, and just maybe being able to do things in terms of like collabing with the class, so, like a first year event, second year event, third year event, like a fourth year event.
So, thank you. Before we move on to the next positions, we do have to keep the room. We will gather. It's about to check right now. We'll take a 10-minute intermission till 9 o'clock, and we will gather
To the left of Comunidad.
to the left of the comunidad. Oh, 10 o'clock, no, 9 o'clock.
9.